So welcome back to another episode of North Carolina Lincoln Park High School trapped inside because of COVID-19. I'm here with my AP Bio teacher. Say hi, Miss Barba.
Hello.
And then I'm here with another AP Bio teacher who's not mine, but is my aunt, Miss Wolfe. I've never called you Miss Wolfe. Say hi, Miss Wolfe.
Hi. Hi. My students call me Dr. Wolfe, but you can call me whatever.
My bad. Dr. Wolfe. I wanted to get you guys on to talk about two things, but just the symmetry and parallels between being AP Bio teachers, I think is very interesting. So first thing, very recent news I want to ask you about is the change to AP exams. How do you feel about it? Do you think there's some benefits to it? Some disadvantages? I want to hear your guys' take.
I can start. I guess sort of my gut reactions to the changes to the exam itself there were a few. I think there are some, maybe some advantages, also some drawbacks that I'm concerned about. I guess maybe the advantage that I can see is I do kind of like the idea of it being online and being accessible from any space, like from a home space. I think that there's some good things about that. In terms of disadvantages, I don't like that the time length was shortened. I think this 45 minutes is going shorter. I think you just end up losing opportunity for students to show what they know. It just kind of, I think it creates a feeling of the stakes being higher and the sort of pressure being greater. I have a lot of students that fear the time pressure as it is, and so this is probably just going to add to that anxiety, that time pressure anxiety.
I would definitely agree with everything that you've said, Dr. Wolfe. I think that one way to kind of spin that disadvantage is to think that students now have the opportunity to focus in on some of that foundational content and be able to really review those topics in depth and show what they know when they get to those FRQs. I don't like that it's just FRQs, and I know that a lot of my students reacted when they heard that it was just FRQs and really wanted to be able to have both aspects since they've been preparing for both free response and multiple choice, and many of them feel like they are able to really show their strategy-based skills on the multiple choice and are still struggling with sometimes being as precise or dissecting those FRQs for what the content really is.
All very good points. I wanted to, and this still applies to AP Bio, but a bit more general, the difference between the schools that you guys teach at. So Dr. Wolfe, you're at a private school in San Diego. Ms. Barba, you're at a urban charter school in Newark. And I was thinking this might be a little difficult because that's only types of schools you guys have taught at as far as I know. But Dr. Wolfe, you have read a book that features my school, so you've got a bit knowledge. So what do you guys think is difference between those types of schools and potentially advantages or disadvantages?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think they are two very different school environments, and I think the biggest takeaway is, just the academic expectations at your school, I think, are, deeper and just it's a more demanding academic environment, it seems to me, where there's high expectations in terms of the numbers of APs that are taken, the just sort of the structure surrounding how courses are taken and how students are expected to, complete in-class work as well as at-home work. There's less wiggle room. There's more rigidity in terms of what is expected of you guys, I think, that in my school, partly because I think there's a real kind of uniformity across your courses at your school. Teachers are kind of all on one page about the sort of pedagogical methods that they use and, how they kind of expect students to fall in line, like in a pretty similar fashion across the board. Whereas I think at my school, it's very much like teachers can kind of chart their own course and how they want to teach each class. I just think that probably each student takes like less APs on average maybe per year than you guys do.
So lastly, I just wanted to ask you guys before we close out, how are you doing with quarantine and isolation?
I've had a lot more free time to be able to cook, and so it's been nice back in my kitchen, which I don't normally get to do as often during the school or during the weekday. And I've also been reading a lot, and so that has been nice as well.
That's great. I'm so glad to hear that. I know I have this sort of like vision that all the teachers out there, you know, that there's like a real like bifurcation. Like there's going to be those that they're given a little more free time and they can kind of like use that to pursue some of their own interests and their own hobbies. And then there's like, I feel like, you know, it's sort of woe is me, but I have 2 little kids at home. And so suddenly now, like, I'm a homeschooling parent, I'm an online teacher, I'm the full-time cook and cleaner and everything of the house. And so it's a little crazy, but I mean, I would say though, on the bright side, like I actually do still have a little extra free time. So, I mean, I could either look at it, you know, from the disadvantage side, or I can look at it on the bright side, and I'm trying to stay focused on the positive.
I think perspective is definitely going to get us all through this. It's nice to interact with students on Zoom and to get to just like talk.
Ms. Barba, how many years have you been teaching and teaching there? Is that your first school?
I've taught in Boston before. And so I was at a school in Boston for just a little while. That was a public school.
Cool.
Have you always taught at a private school?
Yeah, so this is my only school, and this is my 5th year teaching. So I do feel like I've had a very, you know, narrow, extremely tunnel vision view of what it's like to be in a classroom, because this is, you know, it's a minority experience being in a private school like this, and obviously there's a lot of wealth, and so it's one like socioeconomic slice that I work with, and there are a few exceptions to that, but for the most part. So yeah, so I kind of wonder if like at some point in my career I should expand my horizons a little bit, but I don't know, it's hard to say.
Wealth indeed. Like, you guys have a campus. We go to school in the yellow box, and then like street. I mean, we've got a roof on like a field on the roof a little bit, but I mean, like I visited Dr. Wolfe's campus, and you've got to like break a sweat walking from first to second period because it's just so large.
Yeah, it's
very different.
Yeah.
I think that's also just like urban schools in general. In Boston too, that there was like one hallway that I was on all the time, and that was it. And so it's like very similar, just like limited space. There's many places you can build a school. Most of the time, you just got to build upward.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wolfe and Ms. Barba, for this amazing interview. I appreciate it very much. And I'm glad to shed some light on different cultures and lifestyles in schools. So thank you so much for the interview.